He's spent over $700,000 on me in the past 3 months.
What was it, 75 million? Jesus Christ.
I have 3 houses. I have like 7 cars.
14 million in sales.
How much are you allowed to say how much you earn?
Yeah, so this month has hit just over 500, well, last month, so September hit just over 500,000.
That's crazy.
How much have you made so far on OF?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, it was 100 million.
From one app, which generated $7.2 billion last year, it out-earned the entire NBA payroll. It nearly matched the NFL salary cap. It paid out more money to creators than the entire Premier League combined. And it did all of that with 46 employees. The NFL has thousands of staff, and the NBA has hundreds just in their head office. OnlyFans runs one of the most profitable platforms ever built. This machine didn't build itself. See, it's built on something very disturbing. And to understand what that is, you have to understand how this whole thing started. The man who originally built OnlyFans started with a £10,000 loan from his dad. Tim Stokely wasn't some Silicon Valley genius with venture capital knocking down his door. He was just a guy from Essex in the UK who'd already failed twice in the adult content space, 2 websites that both flopped. So he went back to his father, a retired Barclays investment banker, and asked for one more shot. That £10,000 became OnlyFans in 2016. For the first 2 years, it was basically invisible, just a random subscription platform growing slowly under the radar, while Tim ran it out of his family home with his brother, Thomas, as COO, and his father handling the finances. Then, in 2018, a man named Leonid Ravinsky showed up. Ravinsky is a Ukrainian-American entrepreneur, all the way from Chicago, who'd already built a fortune running adult campsites. He understood this industry better than almost anyone alive, and when he looked at OnlyFans, he saw something the Stokeleys hadn't fully unlocked yet. He bought 75% of the company, and from that moment, everything changed. The platform pivoted harder, more explicitly into adult content, the thing Tim had always danced around. And within 2 years, the platform went from a niche site to the most profitable creator economy business ever built. And when COVID hit, that was the moment this thing went to the moon. March 2020, the world locks down. Millions of people are suddenly stuck inside with nothing but their devices, their thoughts, and way too much time. New creators flooded in. Women who'd lost jobs or heard how much other creators were making suddenly had a platform that would pay them 80% of whatever they made with no boss and no schedule.
Don't put that sort of stuff on the gram. You can put that on your OnlyFans, do you know what I mean, and make money out of it, even if it's a bikini picture.
That's what I'm saving bikini pictures for. My name is Tanisha and I'm 17 years old.
FBI, open up! The idea was irresistible, and it worked really f***ing well. New creator signups grew by hundreds of thousands that year alone. But here's the thing about that creator boom that nobody pays enough attention to. A study of 1 million fans found that just 100 users were responsible for over 20% of all revenue generated. This machine doesn't run on millions of casual subscribers. It runs on a smaller population of men who want to see more. By 2021, the platform was so large that even the people running it got scared of what they'd built. That August, OnlyFans announced it was banning explicit content entirely. Clean break, a new direction, and the backlash was intense.
It's become people's full-time income.
Within a week, OnlyFans reversed the decision completely.
The company is reversing the ban.
It was just such an odd move to begin with, because I think most of us, when we think of OnlyFans, that's only what we think.
The playbook's simple. You build an audience on socials, somewhere mainstream, somewhere young men are already spending their days, and then you funnel them across. Twitch was the first platform to really feel this. Female streamers figured out that you didn't need to break TOS to build a paying audience. You just needed to push it as far as you can without technically breaking the rules, and simply exist in a way that made men want more. Hot tub streams, ASMR ASMR, just chatting, nothing that technically violated the rules. Alinity, one of Twitch's most recognizable female streamers, said she made more in 1 month than she would have in 10 years on Twitch. And female Twitch streamers peddling guys over to their spicy link isn't even the most alarming part. The more interesting progression were these promo appearances. Creators began showing up in mainstream content, specifically to promote their accounts. One of the more surprising people being KSI, one of YouTube's household names, had these girls appearing constantly in his content, along with the Sidemen videos too.
What do you do?
For fun, for work, or
Work?
what? I do OnlyFans.
Press the button.
No, don't. You shouldn't have.
The exposure is enormous and the audience is relatively young. It's quite literally the best way to advertise if you're an adult creator, letting curiosity do the rest. We see this happening through all forms of content, especially streamers who host e-dates or who have guest appearances purely to funnel more curious victims. The average age of first-time exposure to this kind of content is 11 years old, which really makes you stop to question the ethics of all of this. And while this is happening, the science of what it's actually doing to that audience is terrifying. Here's what's actually happening inside your head. Every time you watch, your brain releases dopamine, same chemical, pathway, and mechanism as cocaine. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a screen. It simply registers stimulus and fires the reward. And for a bit, everything feels fine. The problem is what happens over time. Do it enough times, and your brain starts to compensate. It begins to lower sensitivity, reduces the number of receptors, builds a tolerance. The same content that used to work starts to feel like nothing, so you go searching for something a little more extreme. This is the same tolerance cycle that destroys drug addicts, except this one is completely legal and you have access 24/7, on top of it being shoved down your throat in YouTube videos, short-form content, streams, music. I could go on. Messed up, right? Cambridge neuroscientist Valerie Voon ran brain scans on compulsive users and compared them directly to drug addicts. The reward circuitry lit up in almost identical patterns, same hyperreactivity, same loss of control. The compulsive users showed something else too. They craved the content more than they actually enjoyed it. They wanted it desperately and felt almost nothing when they got it. That discovery matters more than most people realize, because it means the thing driving the behavior stops being pleasure, and instead it turns into watching because not watching feels worse. And it goes beyond the reward system. Neuroimaging studies have documented actual structural changes in the brain of heavy users. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision making, impulse control, and long-term planning, shows reduced gray matter. It physically shrinks. The part of your brain that's supposed to say, maybe not, gets weaker and weaker the longer this goes on. Then there's what the internet specifically does that older forms of this content never could: unlimited novelty. New face, new scenarios, a new dopamine spike whenever you want. Animal studies documented this decades ago. A male that's completely lost interest in a familiar mate will become immediately aroused by a new one. Scientists named it the Coolidge effect. The internet has turned that into an infinite system, and your brain was never built to handle it. What it can't fully answer yet is the scale of the damage being done to an entire generation of men who were handed this before their brains had even finished developing. And the people running the business certainly know, and understanding what they built and who it was really built for is where the story gets brutal. There's one word that explains all of this better than any statistic will: loneliness. Not the regular kind that's normal for humans to experience, the kind that's been building in young men for over a decade, quietly, consistently creeping in more and more. Studies show men today report fewer close friends than any generation on record. A third of men under 30 say they have no close friends at all. The rates of men who describe themselves as chronically lonely have tripled since the 1990s. I mean, an isolated man with access to the internet is the perfect customer.
Like he's giving you like millions, right?
Yep.
Like most of them are like the scripted fake podcast, but this motherfucker is like actually your top spender. How many w***s have you had to Alice, would you say? How many w***s a day is that?
About like 2-3 times a day.
Wait, I'm sorry guys, I can't focus.
He's not looking for just spicy content, he's searching for connection, and this industry figured out how to sell him that feeling. The girlfriend experience, personalized messages, a creator who responds to him by name, who makes him feel seen, who exists, in his mind at least, as something real. Unfortunately, on the other side is a Filipino chatter. Shout out to one fan on the platform that spent $4.7 million on Sophie Rain alone. Not across his lifetime, no, in a single year. And she doesn't give a fuck about him.
A lot of my money comes from my top spenders. Charlie is the biggest spender. He spent $4.7 million in the course of a year.
Have you spoken to him? Like, do you do like a video chat with him?
I haven't.
That's how creators generate most of their revenue. Remember that stat from earlier? It runs on a smaller group of men so deep in, they've completely lost perspective on what they're spending, what they're chasing, or even what they've already lost. And while those men are spending, the rest of their lives are quietly falling apart. The platform grew 2,163% between 2019 and 2023. It's basically a map of how lonely this generation's actually become, and how quickly something moved in to monetize it. Leonid Ravinsky built a $4.7 billion fortune off the back of all of this darkness. He died in March this year, aged 43, having spent his final years as a recluse in a $19 million oceanfront condo over in Miami. He gave almost no interviews, while in the background, hundreds of millions of men were pouring money into the machine he owned. It's bigger than ever, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Nobody who built this thing is losing sleep over the damage it's done. The only people losing anything are the ones who were never supposed to click that link in the first place. But hey, can you really blame this generation if they were unknowingly addicted from a time before their voice even dropped?